Happy Sunday, traders. So, it's Sunday setup time, and hopefully you guys were following along last week. We had some pretty good trades last week with it being non-farm payroll, and now I'm going to bust down go through all the pairs we trade for this week and make some adjustments. And you guys are going to come along with me and see how I put my support and resistance areas on the daily. Doesn't mean we take trades when it's in there. Just kind of gives us an alert and kind of a direction we want to go on the daily chart. If you want to see when I take my trades in real time on my own accounts, jump on my Telegram channels. I have a free one where I do 2 or 3 trades a week, and I post all of my trade ideas real time as the week goes along. And then I have a paid service where you get all of my discretionary trades in real time with what position size I'm taking. Last week we posted almost 2% profit and 0 drawdown because we closed all of our trades on that Journeyman service. And then even in the free service, we posted a 0.62% profit on a couple trades early in the week. Well, let's get started, and so glad to have you with us. So as always, I use TradingView for my charts. You don't have to, but I use TradingView. I love these charts. They have a free version, so you don't even have to pay for anything. So let's see what price action last week did to some of our charts and see what we got going for the open today. So let me just get rid of this real quick so we don't get dinged. So let's jump out to a daily time frame. So you can see price broke into this sideways action. Last week we saw price dip down close to our bullish zone and then went bullish. Imagine that. So where price is sitting right now is right here in the middle. We have some fundamentals coming out on the Canadian dollar and then later in the week on the Australian dollar. So what we're going to want to wait for is see if we get a continuation up to this sideways range and look if price hits this R2, look to see if we're going to respect this resistance and start looking for sell trades up here. Right now it's just we're kind of hitting this resistance here. So price kind of stalled out, but nothing too probable. We have a RSI 5 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, prices has been bounding between these two zones for quite a while. So even if we get in here, it doesn't mean we jump right into a sell trade. But we'll look for sell if it respects it. But if we get a break of this up, this will now become support. We'll look for a pullback to it and then be buyers there. So just to give you a snapshot of what I'm looking for. Australian dollar, Swiss franc. So we had a break of this trend line and a couple retests, and then now we've just been hovering here. So I'm slightly bearish where price is right now. You can see it hasn't really broke this resistance all week, last week, or even the week before. Not the biggest, highest probable trade here. The price is, basically spent last week into this zone. So it's either going to break up, or because we had this break here, we're waiting for a bearish move down. Australian dollar. I think what everyone's waiting for is trade news out of China with the trade in U.S. If we get bad news, this pair will go down. And if we get better than news we're hearing, it might bust back up into this range. Australian dollar JPY, kind of the same thing, but this one's just kind of hovering this trend line. So I'm still bullish. If we see a breakdown here, it basically ended the week right on its pivot. Nothing too surprising here. Okay, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. All right, New Zealand dollar had quite a week last week. And we, if you can remember, we took some trades up here. We closed them at the pivot, and then we've been waiting for a pullback this whole time. But now you can see prices come all the way down to this trend line, and now I'm bullish this pair. But like I just said earlier, we need some positive trade news out of China, and that would make the Australian dollar kind of react. But we've already hit S2. We're in this bullish zone. I already have it red. Price touched this, and you gotta remember this is a daily candle. Touched this and respected it. We're way below 30 on RSI, so we're hot on this pair. We're hot on this pair, bullish, but we gotta go in with a little caution here and make sure we don't get caught in what could be, one of the favorite trading phrases out there. Don't catch a falling knife. This is a falling knife. So we got to have some pretty good confirmation here of a reversal at this point to get bullish. Australian dollar, US dollar, flirted with the pivot, touched it, came back up. Nothing really big. Nothing really big to report here on the daily chart. We're in between our zones. We might, if we get a push up to this trend line, that channel, upward resistance of this channel, we may get bearish there. I'd like to hold on to my bearish all the way up to this area. But right now we're just in kind of in no man's land. Smaller time frames, some scalpers probably have something, but nothing big for us here. Canadian dollar, Swiss franc. So last week, perfect play off of this S2. Price touched it, shot back up. You can see we're basically oversold on 5 time frames here. And bam, we had the push up to the pivot. Now price is making its way back down. We might actually see a break, a continuation of this downward trend. So this is a good pair to watch and see if by the end of the week we're here, we're getting respect to this support, good play back up. Or if we get a solid break of this low, a good play back down to these levels. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, kind of the same thing. We broke through here, and price has just been kind of touching this former resistance as support, and you can see it's kind of flattened out. So what we're going to want to see is price come back down, test these levels, start respecting this support, and then we're going to get bullish here and try to make a play back to the pivot, possibly back up to our bearish zone. I love when price gets far from its pivot, and what we want to see is price to push possibly all even down, touching this former resistance, creating new support, and we're going to get bullish here. If we see it respecting it here, we'll get bullish because, we kind of have this strong support forming here. Swiss franc JPY, you kind of see this bullish flag. Now we're in this wedge. We thought we had a break here. I bet you a lot of people got caught in this trade if they were looking at the same pattern like I was on this break. See this break, you would tend to be bullish there. I'm bearish because you see all these tops. So good, this break probably kept me out from taking this sell trade, but it would have been a great sell trade at the end of the week to catch this in our bearish zone, and you would be in some good profit. Now we got to see what we're going to do with this support we have here. Even though we have this little dip, I still think you have a bottom, pulled back here. So we'll just have to see. If we get a big push below this pivot, it's probably a good play back down to this former resistance line, or this S2 would be a really good profit target. Euro AUD, so we took this trade last week. As you can see, I believe I've already closed it for profit. I wanted to get out of that trade and get clean before non-farm payroll made some crazy moves, and I lost it. But see, we got in here. We had a break. We had this pull up. We took a sell trade when price respected the top of this daily candle, and we got some good profit. Now it's kind of in this support zone. So we'll have to see what this pair does on the open today or overnight. If we break a new low, I like this pair. This pair busting back down to this bullish zone before we get bullish. And, if we get a break of that area right there, we will be, maybe take a quick sell trade if we break these bottoms and the next support's down here. So, Euro, Canadian dollar. So we're kind of in this slight upward trend now, but we can't seem to get too far from this resistance. I'm going to move that up to these two most recent ones, because that would be where I want to get bearish now. If we get there and we start to see on a smaller time frame respect, more than likely, because we're in this upward trend, we might bust through to see a new high. We'll put our bullish zone where this bearish is, wait for a retest, and then go bullish from there. But we're not there yet. Euro, Swiss franc, we're in the middle of no man's land. There's probably some good scalping setups, but as far as what the daily's telling me, we're bearish here. Now that we broke this high, we may see a continuation here. Let's just quickly pull up a Fibonacci on this impulse leg, and you can see price pretty much started to respect the 0.5. So theoretically, this is going to continue back down. So if I had to trade this pair right now, I'd be selling it after a few hours after open, trying to catch this sell trade down to here. But not sure if I feel like I have to trade any pair. Euro GBP. So this one, we were really eyeballing this low right here. And then you see this just monstrous break of it, just proving that I'm still bearish. So, this pair obviously is in bearish world. We're below 30 on RSI on the daily. I'm not going to be getting bullish on this pair anytime soon. If we jump out to a monthly, right, we broke that support. Now we're sitting right at this support. We bust through this area, we might be looking at it's free and clear all the way down to where price kind of hitched here. So this pair, with the British pound vote going positive for it, you may see a big move on this pair on the open, positive for the British pound. Like I said, I don't think the euro took as enough beating over Brexit as I think it will in the long term. So that may change some of the theory on some of these euro pairs. If we're trying to be long the euro, we got to keep in mind this Brexit mess that we've been dealing with for quite some time. And now the vote over the weekend in Great Britain, positive for a Brexit, which in my opinion will hurt the euro. Euro JPY. So let's go back to our daily. So you can kind of see we've got our resistance drawn, didn't quite push up into it. Now we had this upward trend line that, if we draw correctly there, we're kind of in this sideways pattern. I would be bullish if I start to see price respect this old pivot level or this trend line. It's been sideways for a while. It's a little difficult to tell because you got the euro, the JPY. It's a tough pair because JPY could get really strong this week. I know historically when you have a really good NFP with the US dollar, the JPY suffers a little bit because what really drives the JPY makes it stronger is if there's some sort of fear that the dollar is no longer as strong as price is priced in. So people run to the JPY, and that's kind of condition we're not going to see, right? We had great NFP news Friday on the dollar. Bad trade news would do it. But right now, price is kind of in no man's land, at least on the daily time frame. So let's look at Euro NZD. Again, NZD had a stellar week. I'm not bearish here anymore. Actually, I am. I'm waiting for a pullback. So you can see I drew on here on the arrows. So if we see a decent pullback, come back up, retest this former support, I'm bearish. That's what I'm waiting for with this pair. Euro US dollar, everyone's favorite pair. So we had this downward trend. We broke it, double topped. Great. This is a perfect example of great sell trade. Busted the neckline. Some of you safer traders would have got in here. Then we came back up, and now we're starting to form this bearish zone. Price got way above it, broke back to the pivot. Seeing how price action, I'm not going to be bearish again till up here. But I kind of like this pair. If we start to see a push, again, the euro has to start outpacing the dollar. So fundamentally, it's not quite there. But I'd be bullish if we get a push back down here. I'm not necessarily bearish right away on this, but we get a break of this support. I'd be bearish after the break back down to this level. British pound AUD. All right, so British pound, we had this break here. We had a nice pullback. I bet you if we drew a fib on it, it would be pretty close to, the 0.5, almost perfectly. This has been a great buy trade. Come back up. I think what I was looking at last week or last 2 weeks is this going to double top and be a good reversal point? No, we broke a new high. Now, here's kind of where I'm at. This no longer bearish. I'm bullish here. Mostly because you had this impulse leg. And price came down to the 0.38, pull back up. I think it might get as far as the 0.15, this former resistance. You see that deep of a pullback, respects one of these levels, it's a great buy. We'll just have to see what happens. And then, with the great positive news on the vote, British pound, we may not get that pullback. We may get open and this thing kind of shoot up. I got my lettering here wrong. So that's what we're going to wait here. Let's go to British pound, Canadian dollar. Again, British pound. It's on a rip roar. I'm kind of hoping, I hate to say that word, hoping, in my Wally copy trade account, Wally got caught in a bunch of British pound, Swiss franc, our next pair we're going to look at here. Let's look at it now. So we didn't quite get the same push like on the other British pound pairs. So still kind of holding on, but I'm in an L6 trade, meaning I got 6 losing trades right now on this pair with my copy trade account with my robot. Obviously, they're small enough trade sizes where we're in no big threat of rooting our account. It's a little bit more of a painful drawdown than anyone would like, but I'm hoping we hit this R2. We're probably going to get a strong push because of the votes, but I'm really hoping we get this strong push and start to see this price come back down to this pivot, possibly down to this S2 level, which would get me out of one or two of those L6, L6, engage the robot again and look for a big rollover trade later. But yeah, here's what I'm seeing. I'm not necessarily bearish. I mean, I like it to get bearish on the R2, but more than likely we're going to see a big push on price because of the votes over the weekend, and then hopefully we get a top out and start to see some pullback on it. Otherwise, we're just going to have to close it, take a little bit of a hit, make it back up, right? That's what we do. British pound, JPY, kind of the same thing. I don't think I'd really want to flirt with being bearish. Let's see a strong push. Got above R2 and just kind of stayed there, but you can see we got divergence posting on the daily. It feels really good for a sell, but fundamentally the pound is just getting stronger, so be careful, traders. Careful. British pound, New Zealand dollar. We had some divergence post here. Now we're in this bullish flag. My guess is if we see a break of this flag, we're bullish. That's a little bit safer place to be bullish, but you could see we were bullish on S2 last week. Would have been a good buy trade. Price instantly came back down. So we'll just have to see. I mean, this pair, the New Zealand dollar kicked ass last week, and then British pound kicked ass. So you see this battle of what's going to happen. Who's gonna win that race? British pound, US dollar. You can see where I'm kind of drawing this, waiting for a pullback, test of this former support, and then I'd be bullish. So maybe not so deep. Right there. And then I'm not bearish again until if price doesn't do a pullback, gets all the way up to this level, I'd be looking for a really good sell trade up here. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. All right. So this pair on the daily, we saw price come down, touched 618, and we were looking for a buy trade here. I didn't quite get all the way down here. And if you're on my trading channels, you would have saw on a smaller time frame when I saw this pullback, I was guessing we would have got another push down into this area. I took a quick scalp trade last week, and I actually got caught in a sell trade. So I got a little bit of work to do with this pair. So now I was drawing this bearish zone here, but we'll just have to see where we get. We may get this all the way up to this strong resistance level. Then I might enter a rollover trade here. But right now, it was a small enough trade size, and it's my only open trade. So I have plenty of time to see how this trade forms out. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, same thing. New Zealand dollars on crushing everyone right now. Now that we broke this bearish zone, I'm not particularly bearish till maybe the bottom of that little dip right there. So that would be where I'd see some probability of a sell trade. We are oversold or overbought. We did pass R2. We're due for a small pullback, possibly back to the R2 for some of you smaller time frame scalp trades. I wouldn't be bullish till if we saw a retest of these highs here. New Zealand dollar, JPY, pretty much same thing. Right here's what I'm looking for. That's a good place to look for bearish activity. And, bullish. Let's see if it comes down and retests this high. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm just looking at where price was rejecting before. It blew through. That becomes a new support area of concern. And where did price kind of dip before? That would be where I start looking for a pullback or some sort of reversal here. New Zealand dollar, same thing. This one we actually got kind of drawn. Hopefully, if I widen that, you can kind of see. So if we get a test down to there, we're already drawn good on this one. I'm really surprised because the dollar had really good news. This one you might actually see a pullback coming really soon because it's the dollar. We're overbought. If we throw our Fibonacci on and kind of just guess that was the end, you might get bullish in this area again. If it's a true retracement, this would be an area. I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. Because the dollar's strong, I think we might get a good pullback on this soon. And I kind of want to know when we hit the 0.5, in between the 0.5 and the the 618 line is a really good spot to be buying this pair in this bullish move. US dollar, Canadian dollar, dip down to our bullish zone. Perfect time to buy. It's halfway back to its bearish zone. So we're just going to kind of see which one of these zones price gets to this week and look for a trade there. US dollar, Swiss franc, kind of same thing. Came down to our bullish zone. Being a buy trade, we actually took a buy trade on this. It took too long. We still, don't get me wrong, we made profit. Making money's good. But it got way too close to NFP news. We were already in profit. I closed it early. I know some of you are probably saying, oh, let your winners run. But guess what? I take the profit off the table. Big news like the non-farm payroll coming out. Anything could have happened, and we could have broke this low, and then I've been really sad I didn't close. So it's not that I can't get back into this. We broke these daily candle highs. We might see, just for fun, let's drop down to see. We took a buy trade here, and we got in profit, and it started to come back down. I think when it made this move back up, I took my profit. NFP came out, shot price up. Could have went the other way. So now, we got this little bit of a retracement happening, and we're showing bullish. But let's just see what this pair does on the open. If we get another push down to here and see bullish, we might take another buy trade up here and set our profit target. This former pivot, this S2 line's a good one. More than likely, this week's pivot will start to post somewhere right here. So let's go to our last pair, US dollar JPY. All right, so let's go to the daily. So this pair, we broke this trend, shot up. Now we hit our bearish zone. We hit some money we hit a trade on this last week and made some money. Now we're starting to see we're bottoming out into this bullish area. Selfishly, I would love to see a break of this area and a breakdown and the Japanese yen start to beat the dollar. And then we have a lot of sell room down here. Selfishly, it's what I'd like to see happen. But like we said, we can't make the market do what we want it to do. Just trade in the probabilities. But I'd love to see price come in here. If I see it getting bullish, I'm going to take a buy trade. If I see it break, which I kind of hoping we see is a break, then I like this pair bearish. We got a lot of good levels to look at for a really good sell trade. All right, so that is this week's Sunday setups. And like always, make sure to follow AllenFx Facebook page. I'm going live today after here, actually in a few minutes from the time I record this. Answer any questions anyone following me are interested in copying my trades or just jumping onto one of my channels to get all my trade ideas. I get a lot of questions through email, some questions on this channel. So I'm doing a live event. Just jump on there. Make sure you're on AllenFx Facebook page. You follow it. And that way, whenever I go live, feel free to ask any question you want about my strategies, about my trade sizing, my money management, my podcast. Anything goes. All right. Hopefully you have a good Sunday and a profitable week. And I will see you guys in the Telegram channels this week.